Hi there, my name is Kay Moon and I am a twin flame channel and Western astrologer. And this is a video about the Cancer full moon eclipse for 2020 happening on January 10th, 2020 at 2:21 p.m. Eastern Time. If you happen to be on the East Coast of the United States. For all other time zones, please check the internet for your time zone. This particular full moon eclipse is giving us a really beautiful, big opportunity to let go of victim stories in our lives, to really recognize places where we have allowed ourselves to wear victim glasses and see ourselves as getting the short end of the stick, getting shortchanged by life, getting somehow left out from the abundance that life has to offer. Um, and we'll see this as we move through the different placements of the chart for this eclipse, but the concept here is less about being mindful about with our words and more so about being conscientious with our actions and with our lens, with the glasses we choose to look at our situation with. You know, if we wear certain glasses when we look at our search situation, yeah, it's going to be easy to feel like a victim. It's going to be easy to feel like everyone else has it better than us. Everyone else is having something that, for whatever reason, the universe, God, has decided that we can't have. However, if we put on other glasses, if we take the opportunity to look from a different perspective, what we'll discover is that there's actually an opportunity here to be in better partnership with the people that we love and care about, or people that we work with. There's an opportunity here to be a better co-creator of the kind of outcomes that we want, because this really is between the solar eclipse on December 25th, 26th, and this particular full moon eclipse, the lunar eclipse. This is really one big gigantic reset button on all of our lives. So the question really becomes, how do you want it to go from here? If, we want to see a story where, we live into great leadership, we live into wonderful partnerships, where we live into deepened connectivity, where we live into getting our needs met and our needs honored. If we want to create and live that storyline, we're going to have to drop the story that somehow somebody else took something away from us, and is somehow or other keeping something from us. So it's a challenging message. It's a very challenging message that the stars are providing at this time, because this particular setup with the tensions in this chart for this full moon really highlight some of the places where the truth is, yeah, we have been shortchanged. But that doesn't have to make us a victim. Instead, that can make us illuminated to the leadership required to rewrite our future and our present. That can make us wise to the structure that we now need to co-create in order to live into a different outcome. All right. So, but yeah, if we just stop at, oh, I got shortchanged, this particular chart leaves open wide opportunities to take that to the next level of retaliation, stubbornness, take it to the next level of shutting down, closing out people, closing out circumstances that we might actually need. the chance to throw the baby out with the bathwater, the chance that we might do that is very high with this chart. And so it's going to be up to us to be very vigilant and very mindful about what we are choosing to see when we look at our circumstances. So let's get into it. Let me find my little annotation tool. I'm going to try some new things today. This particular chart has a very heavy focus on the material world with strong earth placements, and most of the earth placements hanging out here in the sign of Capricorn. Capricorn, of all of the earth placements, is the sign that is most about physical manifestation. It's the sign that's about the results that are given to us by the efforts of our own hands. With this much cardinality in the chart, what we're also looking at, again, is where we need to take initiative and take responsibility for making the results exactly what we want them. This much cardinality in the chart is what lends itself to either that energy of, okay, I see how I can restructure this or that. I see how I can use my leadership to create a different reality. But it also lends itself, because cardinal signs take initiative, it can in the shadow lend itself to, instead of taking initiative to shape a reality in a very positive way, can also just as easily be used to retaliate and react instead of responding. So other places where this is really highlighted in particular is this particular Sun Mercury conjunction opposite this full moon at 20 degrees Cancer. When you get the Sun and Mercury sitting together, Sun and Mercury, this is a highlighting of that lens. The Sun is illuminating our thinking, it's illuminating our words, it's illuminating the communication that we have had with ourselves. The Sun in the chart represents who we ourselves are. And the Sun is illuminating right now the communication that we've been having with ourselves about what's going on with the moon representing our needs. Because there's this opposition here of Mercury and Moon, in addition to the Sun being in the mix, there can definitely, and they're not playing solo, for the astrologers who really work with asteroids and trans-Neptunian objects, we also have here what astrologers would call a T-square. Sorry, a cardinal grand cross, which we'll get into in a second. But with Eris in the mix out here at 23 degrees Aries, making that 90-degree angle to all of this energy in Capricorn, and a 90-degree angle to the moon, and a 180-degree opposition to Juno here. What we have going on is, the highlighting of that victim mentality with very sharp words, Mercury, about our needs. Eris in particular is like the ultimate in the conversation about being a victim. The mythology around Eris, they call her spite, they call Eris discord and disharmony. And essentially, anytime you see Eris at her worst in the mythology, it's because she has been somehow or other left out, disenfranchised, somehow or other put aside. That's when you see Eris do her retaliatory best. And Eris will start to do things that cause other people problems as a way of, quote unquote, getting back at them. With this square energy, the difficult energy, the tension here between, Moon in Cancer, our emotional needs, and Sun Mercury conjunction in Capricorn, the consciousness of what we're trying to manifest. If things aren't going the way we want them to go, the likelihood that we'll have a knee-jerk retaliatory response in this particular chart can be very high, especially with people whom we would consider ourselves to be partners, people with whom we would consider ourselves to have alliances, or we are in some way meant to be co-creating together. And that's this Juno here in Libra, partnership asteroid in partnership sign. The desire to quote unquote get them back for the ways in which we have felt somehow left out is very, very high. There's a very much kind of a acting out energy in a very Lilith kind of way almost, where, the middle ground, it's not fully evolved, it's not fully shadow, is like, well, yeah, I'll partner with you, but only if, and it has to be on my terms. Even that is still, it's still playing the victim card. Like, I'll work with you on figuring this out, but only if you do it on my terms. That's not coming from a place of true willingness to see what the other person has and can do and needs, and a true willingness to put our own needs on the table and be very honest, clear, and upfront about them, with strong boundaries for all around. So there is this kind of Lilithian energy here, even though Lilith isn't necessarily part of the conversation. With, let me go ahead and clear that. Cool. We have also an energy here. It's a tough one. So here's Make Make here in Libra in the sign of partnership. Make Make being the shaman's asteroid. Note that the energy is retrograde because that's going to play a role here in a second. But we have Make Make in a sextile position to the planet Mars here in the sign of truth and freedom, hope and optimism, Sagittarius. And then we also have Make Make in a square to this Jupiter South Node conjunction here at 8 degrees Capricorn. So there's a way in which all three of these are working together to tell a very particular story. And the conversation here, the energy, the way the three of these play out is a bit of a wisening up to where our partnerships haven't all the way served us. We haven't even asked them to serve us. Maybe we haven't shown up fully in partnership to get what we need from them. Maybe we haven't shown up fully with our boundaries, or we haven't shown up fully with our vulnerable ask, our vulnerable request to say, hey, this is what we really need. This is what we really want. And so as a result, in particular, with this Jupiter South Node conjunction piece here, this is going to cause endings of things that have previously been together. This is going to cause not only endings, but the endings are kind of like the endings of financial alliances, especially because we have this conjunction of Pluto and Saturn that's been building in the sign of business and finance. Capricorn is going to be the end of certain financial alliances, a recognition of certain financial karma, with Jupiter and the South Node coming together at the 8th degree of Capricorn, where we kind of recognize that there has been some unsustainability in the things that we have built, some unsustainability in either certain business structures, because this is a Cancer full moon, some unsustainability in home situations, home structures, ways that we have set up our home life that just does not work anymore. Um, and you'll see here that this will be kind of the beginning of a larger and somewhat slower crumbling and dissolution of those things that didn't work in the first place. Certain alliances that weren't built to serve both people well in the first place will now come to an end. You'll start seeing those things in your own life and on the world stage coming to completion. If it didn't serve both parties well, it's going to be over. Okay. And so out of that, especially with Jupiter conjunct the South Node, there is a little bit of an opportunity here to take a look in our past for, where can we learn from the past so that we can build a brighter future? Where can we take, the better parts of what worked, leave behind what didn't work, and start to build upon what we know we need to have going forward and in the future? And with Nessus kind of in the mix, making a sextile to this energy. Ooh, my drawing is hilarious here. With the next Nessus, which is obsession, making a sextile to this energy, there is a little bit of an undercurrent of obsessively wanting to figure this out, of obsessively feeling like I have to have this handled, obsessively looking at the details to understand how did we get here and how do we make sure we never get here again. There's a willingness to really start to pull back, look behind the curtain. That's Nessus and Pisces, at what happened here. What was even the psychology? What was the thinking that allowed us to get to this point of dysfunctionality so that we don't have to repeat this? Again, this Jupiter conjunct the South Node, with Pluto conjunct Saturn, there's just no way around this. This is definitely a bit of financial karma, a bit of financial chickens coming home to roost. And this energy is going to be felt beyond this and prior to this. This Pluto-Saturn conjunction is in effect all year. Saturn being the restorer of integrity, where things are out of integrity. Saturn creates an ending, and Pluto being endings in and of itself, Saturn plays up a bit more of its ending energy when it sits here with Pluto together. The two of them are working the world of finance and business in our lives, as well as the world of home, because they are working together. Because they are outer planets, they cast a really big light on the opposite side of the chart into the sign of Cancer. They're working together to go, okay, where in our home lives and where in our career lives are things out of integrity, and do they need to be completely restructured? And so you're going to start to hear even more stuff around the change and the transition of boundaries and borders, contractual and financial arrangements between countries are going to start to shift, and alliances that weren't actual or true alliances where everyone involved benefited are going to start to crumble. Alliances that really do benefit everyone involved, you're going to start to see those solidify and come together. And instead of two entities, you'll start to see emerging or two become one, and the idea of the two companies or the two entities die and one entity comes forward. So all of that, is the kind of energy that this particular full moon eclipse is making possible. We've got an interesting energy here with Pallas Athena, which is all about protection. She's a warrior goddess. She's all about protection. Pallas and a sextile to Venus. And then the two of them, and a sextile to our friend Eris again. So there's an interesting conversation going on here because Pallas and Venus together, I mean, they have a very lovely energy. Pallas and Pallas and Venus want to protect. And in the sign of truth, Pallas, and in the sign of revolution and technology and the people, Venus, we've got this energy of wanting to protect and preserve the things that matter and what we can protect and preserve for the people that we love. This is really and truly taking a stand. But now, when you add Eris to the mix, because Eris is now in a harmonious conversation here with Pallas, we have a bit of standing up for what we believe in and a willingness to fight for what we value, almost to the point of jumping to fighting before we've actually even taken the time to talk through why we're fighting in the first place. There's the energy here of that knee-jerk reaction to going straight into the fight part or the flight part, as opposed to actually stopping and having a conversation and figuring out, okay, what do we want to do? What do we need to do here? Lastly here, there's this energy that stood out to me of Pholus square Chiron. So here's Chiron here at the first degree of Aries, and here's Pholus here in Capricorn at 2 degrees Capricorn. This 90-degree angle does not bring out the best in either one of these. Neither Pholus nor Chiron has an energy that's particularly easy. With Pholus, we have this energy of being collateral damage to other people's issues, other people's problems, other people's challenges. Somehow, it's like they accidentally run over our toes and we get hurt. With Chiron, we have, the wound that we sustain, trying to help other people out. And so yes, healing energy, absolutely. But with Pholus in the square, it highlights more of the wound than it does the healing. So, this is really a recognition in our own lives of where we have allowed ourselves and set up our circumstance to get the short end of the stick. Where we have maybe not asked for, maybe not been transparent, maybe not been vulnerable about the truth of what it is that we need, and the truth of who we are and the truth of what we can offer. And therefore, finding ourselves now in a circumstance to realize, oh, we overcompromised. Okay, got it. And as a result, especially with that earlier energy that we just spoke about with, Eris and then Pallas and then Venus, we have this kind of recognition of, the feeling a little bit like life is win-lose and we always lose. Life is against me and not for me. There's a little bit of that, like I said, that kind of victim mentality, victim storyline that's very much highlighted under the light of this full moon eclipse, and a knee-jerk response to retaliation in the areas of lives touched by this eclipse. So the thing to do is to back out of this and stand in the North Node. The collective North Node transiting Cancer is asking all of us to get really real, really vulnerable about the truth of what our needs are, our emotions are, and understand why we feel the way we feel. Is this truly our story, or is this a story that was handed to us from generations ago? Is this truly how we feel, or is this a feeling that we prefer to feel instead of the vulnerability we'd have to feel in exposing what it is we really want and exposing who it is we really are? Does it just feel safer to put up our victim wall up and say, no, I'm a victim here, and those guys are bad guys. These are bad people over there. The other place to go to really start to balance some of this out is to where there are things that have truly not served and that truly cannot be salvaged, let them go with grace. Let it go with a recognition of the effort that was made and a true surrender to the idea that something better is possible if I let this go now. And not try to hold on or make things stay together or make other people pay. If we drop the storyline that somehow, some way, if we get retribution, that somehow, some way, we will find ourselves now suddenly made whole. It's like, what's that saying? It's like drinking poison, expecting the other person to die. Sometimes it's just time to let go. Sometimes it's just time to let things end. And we don't have to burn the bridge on the way out. We can just say, you know what, we tried and it didn't work. Let's let this go now. Letting go with grace is one of the big gifts of this particular full moon, but it's not easy because it requires sitting with the vulnerable truth that there are, in fact, some things that are not working. And being in recognition of what's not working without making us or the other person wrong for those things not working, but instead just recognizing I've outgrown this, or this is no longer a fit for me. And it's okay that I've grown and that this is no longer a fit. We both need to evolve to our next thing. Doing that is what's going to bring forward the higher level energy available here through this chart. Okay. So, big times, expect that the eclipse energy of this particular full moon ending is going to be in effect more than just the normal 72 hours because it's an eclipse, and this eclipse was happening hand in hand with the preceding eclipse, the solar eclipse on the 25th of December. We've got about a 30 to 60 day window during which this energy, this information that I've shared with you today may start to reveal some of the things that have been going on in your world that it's now time to let go. Certain cycles it's time to complete. Normally, this is when I would tell you that I have certain slots available for the month, and you're welcome to take one if you'd like a personal reading. However, this month I do not have those slots available. The readings for January have sold out, and instead of offering personal readings to you at this time, I will be doing live astrology mini readings on my new channel for live astrology mini readings. It's K Moon Live Astrology Readings. You can take a look for that. I will link it underneath this video. I'll be going live at least 2 times this month for mini readings to give you the opportunity to ask your questions about how this energy may play out in your chart. Or in the chart of someone you care about, or the chart of a business you've started, or a home that you've moved into. We can look at those dates and talk about, how this particular full moon is impacting your life. Please be sure, once you've come on over to K Moon Live Astrology Readings, please be sure to once you've hit the subscribe button, hit that notification bell. Because that notification bell is going to give you the heads up when I go live. Sometimes the live list can get very long, and I would rather you get on the list early so you don't have to wait in order to get your reading. So stay tuned for the dates for those live mini readings. I'll be posting them in the community section on my channel, but if you want to get on the list early as soon as I do them, make sure you are subscribed and you have hit that notification bell. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure, as always, to read for you. Take great care. Bye for now.